Hello, I'd like to welcome you to this programme, Shiaght Laa. I'm Fiona McArdle. Fiona McArdle mish, has bavaliam golta kashu gus Shiaght Laa. We'll start by returning to the Erin Arts Centre. Last weekend there were two categories of competition to find the Young Singer of Mann for 7 to 12-year-olds on Saturday afternoon and for 13 to 18-year-olds on Sunday afternoon. On Saturday afternoon, the first category results for 7 to 12-year-olds were announced by Angela Stewart, who chaired the adjudication panel with Jane Corkle, Jack Divers and Christy de Haven.
Right, if I can first of all just say to all of you, thank you so much for putting yourself into this position. It is not easy singing in any venue. The small venue like this can be quite intimidating because you can see the expression on people's faces. And I realise that up there we are quite well lit, the judges, writing things down about what you do. Very, very tricky. We have got some little spot prizes that have been donated by Man in Music. And so we've decided to give 3 of those out today. And we wanted to reward things that weren't necessarily, and we actually left it until today to decide what we were going to reward. Get something unexpected and acknowledge it. And the 3 things that are going to be getting, 3 people are going to be getting the spot prizes are Alice Hemmensley for characterisation of her wonderful songs. I don't know where Alice is. She's here. Alessandra Patteret, we've decided to give one for, she had a little frog in her throat, a very tiny frog in her throat at the very beginning, but you didn't let it bother you. You carried on, you went, oh, that's annoying, but carried on, and then you got more and more assured as your performance went on, and definitely your confidence increased. You could see it from the back there. So for recovery and improving confidence during the performance. And the third one we chose was Eilish Kilgallen for a really challenging repertoire. Not easy to do that sort of ornamentation. It's hard, and it's actually written into the music, and you have to be faithful, but also give a sense that it belongs to you, not just the composer. A really, really ambitious and definitely worth rewarding. So well done. And then the first, second and third prizes. Third place is going to Millie Craddock. Thank you very much. Second place is Ava Corlett. So now we come to the trophy. So in first place today it is Anna Tamarova.
Raindrops on roses and whiskers on kittens, bright copper kettles and warm woolen mittens, brown paper packages tied up with strings. These are a few of my favourite things. When the dog bites, when the bee stings, when I'm feeling sad, I simply remember my favourite things, and then I don't feel so bad.
On Sunday afternoon, it was the category for 13 to 18-year-olds, and again, Angela made the announcement of the winners.
I'm going to announce there's 2 spot prizes today that have been donated by Man in Music. We didn't decide in advance what they were going to be for. We were hoping that something would emerge from the performances that we really wanted to reward, and we found things. And the first one is for Scarlett Brophy, and it's for her performance of I Have Confidence, mainly because the characterisation of it was impeccable. She had beautiful nervousness every pore of her being was scared at the beginning. It was great. And the confidence built and built and then went back and then built and then went back. It was great. So we'd like to give Scarlett Brophy a prize for characterisation. The next spot prize was for Alice Gregory for her song When She Loved Me. Because of the communication of the pathos of that song, it was so poignant. It was absolutely beautifully handled. It's quite hard to do that because you've sung the song, I don't know where she is, but you've sung the song over and over and over and over again. And sometimes that emotion can fade a bit for you, but you didn't let it fade for us in the audience. So Alice, if you'd like to come down for yours. Now we come to third place, and third place today is for Jessie Quigley. So well done, Jessie. There's two songs, both very demanding. Sure on This Shining Night, the breathing, the breath control in that was exemplary. Lovely control of the dynamics as well. And then the opera piece, suitably dramatic, a very challenging aria. Tuning is good, lots of lovely little bits of ornamentation in it, which she handled beautifully. So all very secure. So well done, Jessica. And in second place, we have Kendra Metcalf. Both songs had a lot to recommend them, but particularly we talked about her second song, I'm Not Afraid of Anything. Very convincing style, very communicative through her face and her body, a free sound. Diction was beautiful, very appropriate for the style of the song. And there's a little very sudden pianissimo towards the end of the song that you handled impeccably. You'd been using full voice and then suddenly pulling it right back, which is a real danger point, and you handled it really well. And I got goosebumps. So second place, definitely. And then we come to first place. And first place tonight was for Eve Puzzar. So, I'd just like to talk about her first one, The Water is Wide. There was a beautiful serenity in the whole performance. In her body and her facial expression and in the line, it was beautifully serene. And the words were very, very clear. And just the whole meaning of the song was very effectively communicated, so we loved that. And then the one from Sister Act, The Life I Never Led, the quasi-recit at the beginning. Oh, yes, you had no trouble with it when I was saying about these low registers. You've got a beautiful bottom end of register, it's really lovely. You handled that perfectly at the beginning of the song. You thinking through the rests, that's another thing that's quite hard to do. Not just thinking, listening, I'm singing again, but actually thinking, what am I thinking? What's this character thinking at this point? And I could see you thinking, even from the back of the room. It's fantastic. Totally committed to the song. And again, I had goosebumps. So congratulations.
I want to be brave. I want to be strong. I want to believe I'm where I belong. To stand up and say, I'm seizing the day. To not just obey, but to choose. And I may not surf, I may not see France, but I have to know I still have the chance. And maybe I'll make a painful mistake. It's mine, though, to take or refuse. And all of the doors yet to open, all of the rooms ahead, they're beckoning bright, scary and new. But I'm standing tall and I'm walking through. What's gone may be gone, but I won't go on playing dead. It's time to start living the life I never lived.
I'm now talking to the winner of the Young Singer of Mann Seniors competition, Eve Puzzar. How does it feel?
It feels very weird and amazing. And I didn't think I'd win at all, but I'm so glad I did.
So what made you want to enter?
I don't know. I really like competitions. And it just sounded like fun. But then a bit into it, I thought it was a classical competition. I got a bit scared. But then I realised it's not. And it's just a bit of fun. So
maybe the fact that they have sort of opened it out a bit this year
Yeah.
made it a bit, sort of more attractive
Yeah.
to you, perhaps, yeah. So in watching all the other competitors as well, you know, it must have been quite nerve-wracking.
100%. Like, my lips were quivering when I was singing. It was so nerve-wracking. I don't know why I was so nervous. I think it's because, like, the small room and, like, a lot of people were singing kind of opera kind of things. And I'm definitely not that. So and also you can't really know what, like, the judges want. So I was a bit nervous, but yeah.
And you have a singing teacher, don't you?
Yes, Christine Sutcliffe.
And how, in working with the singing teacher, because I think a lot of the contestants have had singing teachers, what difference has that made to you in your performance?
I think it mainly helps me support when I'm singing, because my big problem was not supporting. I've always been more of the performer and not really thought about much of the voice, but I think she's definitely helped me with supporting my voice and know how to work it.
Mm-hmm. Now, I'm going to come to Mum. Emily's here as well. So how do you feel about this then?
I'm extremely happy for Eve. I have to be honest, we were just thinking, we'll go along, we'll see what it's like. We've not done this before. And yeah, we were both in shock when she won, to be honest. But
you know, there is some calibre in the family, because you do have other musicians in your family, don't you?
we do. The whole family is musical, to be honest. Starting with my dad, I guess, John Kneen. Her sister, Kizzy, is at uni right now. That's Eve Puzzar. Her brother, Toby, has just started at college doing music production. I don't know, everybody's musical, so that's good.
So did you sort of encourage them to get into music from a young age?
I think it's just something that they enjoyed, to be honest. So I've encouraged it because they enjoyed it. What was it like growing up? Was it a very musical household, Eve?
No, not really. I think we're all just really, really loud, and I think I thought of a way to channel that into something else that wasn't screaming. So I think it was just all very natural, and I wasn't really getting lessons or like doing things like that or in shows or anything. I kind of just really enjoyed it, and I've just been singing for quite a long time. None of us have really been like in lessons, and like we kind of just do it because we enjoy it.
So what advice would you have for sort of like younger singers who are coming up?
Honestly, I'd just say try find something in the song that you can relate to perform it, because I'm not too bothered if I don't place. Obviously, I'm really happy that I did, but I would prefer to have a great performance, even if I didn't win, even if I didn't place or anything. It's just great to have a performance and people saying, you know, that did something to me. Do you know what I mean? That moved me.
She's wise. What's next for you?
I'm doing 6 at St Ninian's. I am playing the part of Anna of Cleves. I'm divorced. You should come watch it from the 27th of March to the 31st. And I'm also in Innocent Creatures with Connections. You can watch that mid-March.
Amazing. Congratulations again, Eve. All the very best for the future.
Thank you so much.
Grateful thanks to Christy DeHaven for the recordings, because as well as being a member of the panel of adjudicators, Christy was also our reporter on the spot. We heard the chair of the panel of adjudicators, Angela Stewart, making the announcements on behalf of her co-adjudicators, Jane Corkle, Jack Divers and Christy DeHaven. We heard the winner of the junior category, Anna Tamarova, and we heard the winner of the senior category, Eve Puzzar, not only singing, but talking with Christy DeHaven, who also took the opportunity to speak to Eve's mum, Emily. You can hear even more about the 2 afternoons of competition in a special programme with Christy DeHaven next Tuesday evening at 6, here on Manx Radio.
Hirshan McCown and Nachtalier van Emanini Komel Susla Brisha. as van Shiaght Laa Gainle and Shiaght Laa Jane V. Shaw. Having heard about the importance of New Brisha and her celebration on the 1st of February, and hearing that she's sometimes called the Mary of the Gaels, it's perhaps not surprising to find that the following day, the 2nd of February, is a day associated with the Virgin Mary herself, commemorating the presentation of Jesus in the temple 40 days after his birth. Part of the ceremony included the lighting of a candle, and the Manx name for it is Laa'l Moirrey, the burning of the candle. Another name for it in the Christian tradition is Candlemas.
And there we heard Mira Royal playing the tune called Murrina Gainle, associated with Laa'l Moirrey Candlemas, the 2nd of February.
Mish tá sin nach leis an began maceanna tradiisiún Christi snellian, tá sin gléisiacha gus ridanneach tar agan fodí mar ridanneach eile de bollach. Tá nu maian gré, ha fod dunne bí de veinster a gervéis. Ha fod siú G as mamman a gervéis. Ons komma ná an Bible, ons inne Lord McCann mamman, tigre, urgid. Moving on to an anniversary of quite a different sort, the 3rd of February 1900 became known in the island as Black Saturday, because that was the day that the years of incompetence and willful negligence caught up with Dumbell's Bank. In Douglas, the Dumbell's Bank building still stands at the junction of Prospect Hill and the upper part of Nelson Street, and there's a famous photograph of crowds gathering outside, unable to get in to recover their money on that morning. The failure of Dumbell's Bank to open marked the discovery of a sorry state of affairs on Black Saturday, the 3rd of February 1900. Hirshan McCown and Achtaliev and Emanini Kummel Susla Brisha, as van Shiaght Laa Gainle and Shiaght Laa Jane V. Shaw. Having heard about the importance of New Brisha and her celebration on the 1st of February, and hearing that she's sometimes called the Mary of the Gaels, it's perhaps not surprising to find that the following day, the 2nd of February, is a day associated with the Virgin Mary herself, commemorating the presentation of Jesus in the temple 40 days after his birth. Part of the ceremony included the lighting of a candle, and the Manx name for it is Laa'l Moirrey, the burning of the candle. Another name for it in the Christian tradition is Candlemas. Sa stréisio Shiaght Laa tá sin a bheith cur ara Port Erin, as lé Lair Eleanor Port Erin. Mar hiúil sin an hirt Jerry, tá fog Lair Archibald Crigeen chur síos enam a bhaile beg tíre mar Port Erin, a fé de bhaile an Port smú siar Gainle. Van fog Lair ega clywyd onsa bhlaen hoci jeg, queg jeg as feed. Geda bhaile a chur an enam Port Erin on skilk. Te gre de bhaile nish emnesit Port Erin, screwed I-R-O-N. Och ega tre shen, a Port de chasels an chira a bheith clywyd, ta jichan dún da rau an na arn jen enam letrit mar Erin, shen E-R-I-N. Ta siúras a creiri a chur síos an enam, Ian smú siar, cur sanish de vel an enam vosh Erin, en yenadach jen enam yenach era. Leis a fau de vel show an furt, red va trecht gol, noon as nol, edda mannen as era. Yet again in Shiaght Laa, we return now to Lair Eleanor Port Erin, the Erin Arts Centre, or at least we can do, next Monday evening, the 6th of February, when the Friends of Russian Heritage Trust are holding one of their regular events at 7:30 p.m. It's a presentation giving a tour through some of the strange and mysterious happenings recorded in Port Erin, and it's to be given by James Franklin, the Online Education and Resource Officer of Culture Vannin. Shiaght Laa visited James Franklin to hear about the sources for what he'll be presenting next Monday evening and the sort of thing he'll be including on the night.
The great thing about Manx folklore is that there are such a wide variety of sources for these things. You can get scraps here and there, and you can be reading a book about history and suddenly this weird and wonderful story will spring out. But there are a couple of key sources. Always with Manx folklore you should be looking at W. Gill's Manx scrapbooks, and there's a few from there. Always, of course, Sophia Morrison's Manx fairy tales, and there's quite a few from there. But of course down in Russian you've got to be looking at Karl Roeder and Edward Farragher and their collections especially, because that's where it's mostly coming from.
Edward Farragher was from Cregneish. And what about Karl Roeder? What was his background?
Well, he's a really interesting one. As you can perhaps tell from his name, he wasn't Manx at all. He was German born, and he ended up working and living in Manchester. But he ended up coming over here just out of, I think perhaps his first visit was out of interest, really. But he soon fell into being interested in the folklore. And he was very much the key person who was seriously collecting Manx folklore in the 1890s through into the 1900s. And he did it in a way which other people didn't. He knew what he was doing, and it was very much, he almost tutored Sophia Morrison later in her work. And Roeder was particularly successful because of how seriously he collected, and he knew what he was doing, and he knew how to infiltrate's not a very good word, but how to gain the trust and how to gain these stories. And one of the ways was to befriend people who were local to the area, such as Nedbeg Homroy, Edward Farragher. First of all, when Russian Heritage Trust very kindly asked me to talk about something, they offered or suggested I might do the folklore of Russian. But that was far too big a task, and even just concentrating on Port Erin, albeit with slightly wider town margins, even that's an enormous ask. And so I'm trying to make a break from what I normally do. Normally I will talk about a subject and then talk around it, kind of place it culturally and talk about some of the bits which make it interesting for me. But this time I'm trying to just fit in as many stories as possible. And so it will be pretty much 3 minutes intro and then just story, because there is so much folklore in there. And there's even quite a few which I'll be missing out because there is so much, like I say. And even this is just the folklore which can be located in Port Erin or on its borders, not talking about Manx folklore in general. And this is why I hope the audience in the Erin Arts Centre will find it interesting on the night.
Online Education and Resource Officer for Culture Vannin, James Franklin, who will be giving a presentation of a tour through some of the strange and mysterious happenings recorded in Port Erin, and that will be this Monday evening, the 6th of February at 7:30 p.m. in the Erin Arts Centre. Chenev or Shiaght Laa and Hiucho. That's all from Shiaght Laa this time. Shiaght Laa will be back next Thursday evening. But now from me, Fiona McArdle, Slin you.